Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Kripake from Sri Venkateshwara College of Engineering. Today in this video, I'm going to be talking about Rsa algorithm, which is a part of cryptography under the subject code 18EC744. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about what is Rsa algorithm, how does Rsa algorithm work, steps in Rsa algorithm, RSA as encryption and decryption algorithm, advantages of Rsa algorithm and disadvantages of Rsa algorithm. So let's get started. So firstly, what is Rsa algorithm? Coming to what is Rsa algorithm, the Rsa algorithm in cryptography was developed by three founders, namely Ron Rivest, Adi Shamir, and Leonard Adelman in 1978, and hence the algorithm was named RSA. So taking the first letter of each founder, the RSA algorithm was named after them. The RSA algorithm in cryptography is a public key cryptography algorithm used for converting plain text into ciphertext. It is also known as asymmetric key cryptography because two different keys, that is a public key and a private key, are used for encrypting and decrypting the message or data. As the name implies, the public key is made available to anyone while the private key remains secret or private. That is, it cannot be shared with anyone. The public key is used by the sender to encrypt the message or plain text, and a private key is used by the receiver to decrypt the message or ciphertext. So this was a small introduction about what is RSA algorithm. So how does RSA algorithm work? RSA algorithm works in three steps. So starting with the first is the generation of public and private keys. And the second step is encryption of message by sender using the public key, and the decryption of message by the receiver using the private key. As previously we saw about the encryption and decryption in the introduction of RSA algorithm. RSA algorithm is one of the most widely used algorithm. So let us see the steps involved in RSA algorithm. So coming to the first step, we choose A and B as two large prime numbers where A cannot be equal to B. And next we compute n is equal to A and B where n is referred to as the modulus of encryption and decryption. Next we compute the function phi of n is equal to a minus 1 into b minus 1 such that 1 is lesser than e and e is lesser than phi of n such that they do not have any factors except for 1. Next we compute d. We can compute d in two ways. Firstly by using extended Euclidean algorithm or by calculating by the given formula. So d is equal to phi of n into k plus 1 divided by e for some integer key. So we can use either this formula or we can use either that algorithm to find the value of d. Next, for finding the public key, it consists of two numbers, that is n and e, and for finding a private key, we have two numbers, that is n and d. So in this way, we can solve RSA algorithm using the given steps. So moving to this pictorial representation of how actually RSA algorithm works. So you can see how actually the RSA algorithm works in this given picture. Let us see a small example of how RSA algorithm works. So starting with selecting two large prime numbers. So let's take p is equal to 17 and q is equal to 11 where a is not equal to b, that is p is not equal to q. Next step is calculate n is equal to pq. So let us calculate p and q, that is p into q, 17 into 11 gives us 187. The next step is let's calculate f of n, that is equal to p minus 1 into q minus 1. So 17 minus 1 is 16 and q minus 1, that is 11 minus 1 is 10. So 16 into 10 we get the value as 160. Now the next step is to select e such that e is relatively prime to f of n. So that is equal to 160 and less than f of n, we choose e is equal to 7 because it should be relatively prime to f of n. The next step is finding the d. So d is equal to e minus 1 mod 160, that is equal to 23. That can also be calculated using the Euclid's algorithm. So we have two ways to do that. Now after that, we have two values as seen before for public key and private key. Now we get the public key as 7 and 187 and private key as 23 and 187. So this is a small example of how RSA algorithm works, and we can see how the steps are implemented in the given example. So moving to the pictorial representation of RSA as encryption and decryption algorithm. So we had seen previously the ways of RSA algorithm. So encryption and decryption is also one of the ways. So for encryption and decryption, we have two formulas, namely. So we can see in the given slide, encryption and decryption are of the following form for some plain text block M, ciphertext block C. So C is equal to M power E mod N and M is equal to C power D mod N. For the above equation to be true, D must be an inverse of E. So D can be calculated from E using extended uselets algorithm. Both sender and receiver must know the value of N. The sender knows the value of E and only the receiver knows the value of D. RSA can also be subjected to various attacks like brute force attack, various mathematical attacks, timing attacks, and chosen ciphertext attacks. So we can see how many attacks it can be subjected to. So some of these attacks exploit the mathematical characteristics of RSA. So these attacks can affect the mathematical characters of RSA. So this kinds to be one of the advantage of the algorithm. So moving to the example for encryption and decryption. So this example is the previous example which I took for explaining RSA algorithm. So it goes the same. So first we select two prime numbers, namely 17 and 11, and we calculate n is equal to pq. So then we calculate f of n. Then we relatively choose a prime number for f of n, that is we choose 7. Next we can calculate d using d is equal to e minus 1 mod 160, or we can do it by using extended uselets algorithm. So after that, as we saw in the previous example, we calculate public key and private key using the steps given, and next is encryption and decryption. As we saw the formula on the previous slide for encryption and decryption, we are going to do the same thing here. So after getting public key and private key, we are going to solve encryption and decryption. So coming to encryption, C is equal to 887 mod 187, which we get the value as 11, and decryption, here C we get as 11, so we use the above value for C, and we calculate the decryption, which we are going to be getting as 88. So this is a small example of encryption and decryption in RSA algorithm. So as RSA algorithm is one of the efficiently used algorithm, it has many advantages as well as disadvantages too. So let us see some of the advantages of RSA algorithm. So in comparison to DSA algorithm, the RSA1 encrypts data more quickly. So here comes a comparison between DSA algorithm and RSA algorithm. So in RSA algorithm, the data is encrypted more quickly than compared to DSA algorithm, and this is one of the major advantage for RSA algorithm. So if we encrypt a message with the receiver's public key, you ensure the messages confidently and authenticity, since no one else will be able to decrypt it without knowing the receiver's private key, which is only known to the receiver of the message or data. So this comes under major security of whatever message it is. So it is a really very good advantage for RSA algorithm, having a very good security for the messages which is being encrypted or decrypted. More to the disadvantages of RSA algorithm. With lot of advantages, RSA algorithm also has many disadvantages. So with the RSA algorithm in cryptography, there's too much computation going on. So you can see the computation which is going on in the RSA algorithm, like we have to find the public key, private key, or encryption or decryption. The process is a bit complex, yeah, and that becomes one of the disadvantages of RSA algorithm. And the encryption and decryption process takes a long time, and generating keys is cumbersome. So this is one of the major disadvantages of RSA algorithm, because the user expect the algorithm or the process to be more time efficient, and it takes a lot of time for generating keys, and the encryption decryption process is really long. So this becomes one of the major disadvantages of RSA algorithm. I hope this video was really helpful to learn about RSA algorithm. Have a good day. Thank you.